Appreciate everybody. But we'll start off again. My name is Deonté Gibson. I'm the D tackles coach here at Wyoming. Just want to run through a couple run game fundamental things that we do to make sure that our guys really hit point on what we want to do up front. All right, so just from a philosophy standpoint, I know there's a lot of words, but the biggest thing we talk about is just having a great attitude and character, and it starts with me. And so, if I want the D line to look a certain way or want the D tackle room to look a certain way, I have to show up the correct way. So my attitude and character got to be on point. And I lean a lot into the teacher aspect of things because I think one, obviously, education is important, but I think the majority of our job is to be really good teachers. We have a whistle, we can yell, we can MF and do all this crazy stuff and be really loud and animated on the field. But at the end of the day, we got to be able to draw plays, be able to discuss techniques, and be able to grab the attention of these young men. And I think that requires a astute understanding of how to be a teacher. So that's using walkthroughs, that's using any visualization that you can, like scripts, playbooks, cut ups, anything possible, right? You kind of got to figure out how these guys learn and then meet them halfway in the learning process, right? And for me, the two biggest things for me in my philosophy as a coach is communication and trust. I start with on me. It is my job to earn their trust early, and it's their job to continue to earn mine, right? And I think that alone resets the stage of the power dynamic. Like obviously, when I walk into a room, I'm the person of authority, but at the same time, as you know, in today's world with the transfer portal and just the nature of just having new players every year, include just if you specifically talk about high school, yeah, they trusted you along the recruiting process to do something and stand by them. But at the same time, there's still a barrier to what they truly believe you can do to help them accomplish things. And I think it's on us as coaches to truly earn that trust. And I think that only opens up doors of communication moving forward. As In our room, we talk about the DNA here in our room, and it's really based upon our ability to play with high velocity and effort. It's not negotiable. So if it doesn't show up on high school tape, it doesn't show up in the any kind of conversation I have with a coach or whether it's a transfer or an incoming guy, I just stop talking. Like if they don't have a motor, it's pointless at that point. You don't learn to have a motor. And I believe want to is greater than effort. Effort big time is driven when I was a young player, a lot of times it was run to the ball and they kept it really simple. And so like if the ball was 50 yards down the field, if you ran like 15 yards as a D lineman as hard as you could, coaches were happy with it. But for us, we want you to get your big ass to the ball. Excuse my language. So we want you to believe you can actually go make this play. And so you bust your ass past that. Like, can you realistically get down 50 yards down the field? Probably not, but I want you to try. And it's a non-negotiable in our room. Want to is greater than effort. Selfless pursuit about the defense. It's not about you, which is really huge. So far, everything good with the camera or audio? Everything good with the audio so far?
Yeah, it's just one of the coaches has their mic on. So
Okay.
it's one of
Just
those
wanted
things
to
where
make
like
sure.
it's hard to I can't kick them out really, so it's just or mute it.
It's all good. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't screwing something up. But
You're good.
as we continue, the last part is violent intentions, right? I coach the heavy group of the defense, and so I'm saying, hey, if you're going to run your big butt down the field, somebody's got to get hit. I don't care who it is. And so when you get there, you got to meet them with violent intentions, right? So that's us in a nutshell, right? As we mean and we talk about run game, right? How do we dominate it? I think the first step is the most important thing, and it's got to be explosive in your takeoff. That's that first step mechanics, right? Attacking, got to have explosive hips with a violent strike coming behind you. The physical lockout has everything to do with your eyes and your ability to get your elbows extended. The biggest thing I tell a guy is if we put 350 pounds on your chest under a bar and you got to press it off you, you're going to be in a big ass hurry to get it off your chest. So that's the same kind of urgency we need guys to have on the field in regards to being at the point of attack between two offensive linemen or one on a solo block, right? Transition, got to have hot feet the entire time, recreating the line of scrimmage. We cannot play at the line of scrimmage and just dabble with bigger people, right? It just doesn't make sense. And also, we got an objective. We need to get the ball carrier down. Once we shed, we tear off a block with violence. If it's whether that's an arm over, whether that's a push pull rip, whether that's a whatever it may be, we have to shed within a level of urgency and violence to make sure that we are getting to the ball. So that our finish is when we get to a ball carrier, we drive for five, and at the end of the day, we got to celebrate with our team. We got to have fun with this. We don't do this. we do this for the love of the game, but God damn it, we do it to have fun too. So we got to make sure we enjoy dominating the line of scrimmage. For me, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. I think there's things, new drills that you can always come up with. I think there's a multitude of things you can do just schematically to make defense better. But I also think football has its roots. It's with your eyes, with your violence, with your hips, with your feet, and a level of intentionality that's important. And for us, our block recognition philosophy boils down to one thing: target and pressure. Where's your target, meaning who you line up on, and then figuring out where your pressure is coming from. And so a lot of the times you can line up as a three technique, it's anticipating your guard being your target and your pressure. Your guard pulls, you have a new pressure. And it's going to reveal itself pretty quickly inside, probably a little faster than most people because it has to. And so it's really key for us as you kind of look at this picture here, talking about the target deal here. We want to look through the guard as a three technique and find out where do we put our eyes next. Whether that's becoming a swag player, whether that's working the top, working over the top, whether it's working through a combo or double team, we'll be able to talk through that as we get to a little bit of drill work. All right, and just to talk about what we did this year in the first year here. This is my finishing. I finished up my first year here at YO in 2025, and this is what the unit looked like as a defense and a run defense and some other metrics that we kind of try to keep intact as we go through the year. And we made some significant improvements. Now, there's a lot of things we got to continue to improve on. One, a big one for us in our room is continuing to be healthy. Definitely towards the end of the year, playing with a combination of people they've never gotten real snaps, and they played their balls off. And so we were able to have some success defensively, but we got to take it up a next level because that's still far too much on the ground. And we got to continue to get better. But there's some headway being made. All right. So now we got here to actually talk about a little football, right? So first step mechanics, right? So the big thing I want to make sure we understand is, like, as we talk about dominating the run game, is having a great first step. And so this drill, I like to get a shoot, and I like to put these guys in the arena. I think the shoot provides an arena for chaos, right? You get under the shoot, you got to get out of the shoot. And I'm going to make it difficult for you to get out of it. Your technique's got to be clean, your violence got to be better. And so I think that sets the stage just for being a D tackle, right? And so I'll put the two agiles in between them and I tighten their base, right? I don't want them playing wide out the framework of their body. I want them to stay within the framework of their body. So they can't stab the agile on their first step, and they got to be able to get to this contact point pretty quick. So this drill in particular is off of a whistle. And so I want to be able to see him get his first step down, as you see here, first step down, hands and eyes locked out, punch through, toggle over the bag, right? Keep it simple. Then we'll advance the drill. We'll flinch it, right? Because we also understand that football is not on a cadence. And so we'll work a flinch component. And I want to see the same components though. Thumbs up, striking through, hot hands, get that first step down, right? Eyes below hands, be able to punch through a target. And again, yeah, just want to see the guys work it a little bit more. Now I'll start to flinch. And I want to see those guys be able to react to a different stimulant, right? We'll go snap, we'll go flinch, we'll go tennis ball, we'll go whatever it is, just so that we're always keying on the first thing that moves, I move. And I want you guys to see how he get out of his hips and transition his feet with a quick first step. All right. And then we'll continue to advance it. We'll go out in the open field. As you watch this older guy here, one of our all-conference players from last year, seeing him get out of his hands and hips and feet was good. And a lot of times I like to get involved because I got to know if they're really punching. Like, the one thing I don't want to get lost in this drill is the violence of the strike. And you can see here as the bag dents through my body, he's striking and the feet are hot. So then we'll advance it. All right, let's get our first step down and shed off a block, right? So I'll put an agile in the middle of them. One, again, to keep the base. Two, we're under the shed, so we got to get out. Three, I want to see him strike, lock out, shed, go over the top. In this particular drill, we're going to the right. So as you see the extension, you see the first step, you see the hotness of the feet, you see the eyes below hands, the lockout. See if we can get this thing toggling. We punch through. We go over the top, boom, and we're good there. Next guy. Kind of same thing here. He punches through, hot feet, running through contact, violence, anger, and then be able to shed off the ball, right? Same guy here, pop it off, and then watch the shed at the end. Good. Now we're advancing off of the first step and working in our true transition. get into our next guys, and we just work down the line. Want to see guys violent as hell with their hands and their hips and their feet early. This is a early portion of a drill. All right. So then now we'll use sleds, right? So now I want to get the incorporate the ability to really get out of your hips and finishing with violence at the top of a shed, right? And so I'll get to the shed progression drill that we like to tend to do, right? So this is off of a cadence. Sometimes I didn't get it filmed here. So a lot of times I'll use a string or a tennis ball, so it's not always off a whistle. And the thing you want to see guys do, like normal, you want to be able to see toggle through that first step, and then at the end, you see that strong hip thrust through. Now, again, I know that's not when you're in the thick of a game, you're not going to stop your feet and jump through. But I want to keep re-emphasizing our ability to be violent in our extension and emphasis to get off of a block. Same thing here, hot feet, tight hands, pop through, shed, go over the top. Try to keep it simple. Again, mechanics of being really violent with our hands and feet early, as much as possible. So here, replay this one. Guys, eyes below hands, hot feet, shed with violence. So we get it unfrozen here. Good there. All right. So then now, right, we got to talk about our block recognition philosophy, right? We talk about being able to key, not just simply key read, but also still taking those same vertical steps we've been doing this whole time. I think as you train power clean squats, you work your sprint game throughout the off season, everything's going forward, fast, twitchy, and rolling. So the last thing I want to do is not drill them in the same manner, right? So every step that we take as a front, it's going to be forward. And then when we act to what we see or what we feel from the offensive line with the coincided movements, right? So like I said, sometimes I'm just a little dumb enough to get in the drill because I want to know. Sometimes I got to know are we truly dialed in on practice? And they don't take it easy on me, and I'm glad they don't. But the biggest thing is I want to be able to see these guys read. So as we go through this shoot drill here, we're working a combination block, be able to defeat the post and drive through the hips, right? So how do we defeat doubles and combos? As we keep it simple on one man, right? You need a better offensive lineman to not get kicked off his feet like this. But two, violent hands, violent feet, hips, and all attitude going downhill towards your target. So we get the next one. Same thing. Don't let a little side movement on a double is expected, but not too much. But you want to be able to get downhill off of the first guy. Because if you try to defeat two people, you're going to run into an obstacle it's a little impossible to bench press 600 pounds opposite outside of your body. Right? And so we like to go from there. And we'll drill every aspect of all the blocks that we get. And a lot of times, what we like to do is cater it to the week, right? Well, this is some film from fall camp and some a little bit from spring ball. We'll give you everything. But if it's a specific day where we're working zone, all the block recognition deals and drills that we'll do pertain to zone defense. If it's gap scheme, we'll be more gap scheme heavy. And the same thing goes into how we kind of set our week throughout the game weeks. All right, so this drill in particular, we're going to work a fish hook drill. So fish hooking is when, I don't know if you guys have used the term before. Some people call it a C block. Is your guy pulls and you C block or fish hook around the coinciding down block, right? You chase the pull. And so when we chase the pull, we punch, lean, and throw. It's almost like a pass rush mechanic move, right? We get our first step down, we're going to rip, lean, and press off of that pressure so that we stay flat down the line of scrimmage. We want to make it difficult for these guys. And then in this drill in particular, sometimes when you get these movements, the hands are still on you, so you got to work some hands to pop off and then throw your hand to get flattened out, right? Same thing. Now we'll work the over the top component. Right now, I need to punch, be able to punch the pressure and chase my target. Does that make sense? So then now we got two different ways to play this block. So now as you scheme us, hopefully you don't get a good sense of every time that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're playing off of essentially the leverage of your block. And so a lot of times I tell the guys, right, the only time you really want to fish hook is if you have a downward if you get the pull and you get a downward back block on your low hip, if you get a low hip block, you're not beating that over the top. You need to fish hook that and flatten and play against what you see, right? The other aspect of the block recognition philosophy that we have here is we want offensive line coaches to play want them to scheme and get their guys to play with the best technique, right? We don't want to go, we don't want to give them an easy week where they can just line up and blindly run inside zone or run any kind of gap scheme. We want them to actually teach their guys to be great at football. And so when they have lapses and moments, we want to abuse those techniques. And so we're really going to test if your O-line coach is solid. So again, kind of same drill. We work here. Sorry, the video's a little inconsistent here, but same thing. You want to get your first step to your target, and then you want to see through your target to your pressure, and then you want to work your pressure, as you see here. Let me see if I can get it queued up a little bit better. As you want to see through your pressure and fight over the top and be able to be +1 on any kind of gap scheme game, right? Again, other block recognition deals, as we want to talk about, right? This one in particular is pad back. Some guys play pressure key or however you want to phrase it. We call it pad back because we want to punch back towards the pressure, right? It's a lot of this is used more so in the zone scheme game. We don't want to chase blocks. I think the best thing that I saw from some of the teams like the 49ers, the way they run their zones, is they get you to run laterally with their guard or whatever target that you're looking at, depending on your alignment, right? They get you to run sideways with blocks and then they just cut back off it. We want to be able to cut off zones. And again, we want to force O-linemen to work through D tackles. Like we're going to force you to actually pay us attention. Because if you don't, we're going to make the play. And if you don't, our linebacker should be feeling pretty good at the end of the game and pretty clean, right? And so as you look here, his block goes away. He pops right to his next target. So it's 1-2, boom. Eyes still in his same gap. Nothing changes. Your gap still remains the same, but now your eyes and your hands switch to the next person. But your initial first step is still towards your initial guard. And I love using the shoot. I think it's the best thing ever because it forces guys, one, to react out of the shoot and play with low pads. But then two, I think, again, I like setting the arena for big guys. I need them to know this game is going to be violent. And just a quick rep here of our rocker technique. Again, we don't want to chase blocks. Don't want to be completely depleted or deleted out of our gaps, right? And so we'll call this rocker, right? You're playing through a combo, and then the pressure leaves. Let's see if I can replay this a little bit more for you guys. So again, you want to be able to play through pressure, right? So I'm playing through my pressure, and then the double team pressure leaves. I want to throw back to where he came from because 9 times out of 10, that's where the ball's going to hit. So again, we don't want to overreact to what we perceive to see. We want to be able to look at things. We also want to be able to feel blocks too. And then obviously the number one deal that we got to be good at, keep it simple. You got to be able to play the zone. And when you got a one-on-one block, you got to dominate and delete blocks. If you get soloed, I call solos disrespect. They believe that their guy is better than you. And so at that point, you got to play with great technique. You got to play with great physicality. You got to get your great first step down. But at the end of the day, you got to play with a goddamn sense of this guy can't block me. And simply put it that way. Your pride's got to take over on a solo block. Solo blocks, I believe, are an ego trip for a D tackle or a D lineman in general. Don't get solo blocked. All right. Here, let me get this truly optimized for you here. Same thing. Want to see him get out of his hips? Boom. Pop through, play his gap, shed, play with a level of violence, hands. Like that's about a 6'4" D tackle, 300-pound man, be able to play behind his hands and hips underneath pads, right? And then we'll do the same thing in the open field, right? So when you got moments where you got, a transition between special teams periods or between a pass rush period or whatever it may be, this is another simple drill just to work block recognition, right? I like to change the platform because I think working the same coaching techniques and the same drills can be a little monotonous. So I think you can do the same drills, just change the platform, get out of the shoot, do it on a pop up, do it on a sled, or go back to the shoot, or do it in an open field. I think those guys stay engaged the more you change the platform. And so here we're just working zone 2, reacting to the back, playing our B gap. We establish our B gap or our outside leverage gap, and then we play back underneath for a 2-yard tackle, right? Next one. Same thing. We'll teach double hand or we'll teach 2 to 1, right? Play it truly like a DN. This is for 3 techniques. You go 2 to 1, get that arm free, be able to shed, and then meet the blocker on the outside. And then kind of same thing here. One of my older guys here, the Bucknell transfer guy, was really big for us last year. See if I can get it going. There we go. So here, once you see him established, go 2 to 1, and then still be able to shed. Now you just saw 3 different ways guys are playing these blocks. But again, I'll go from comfortability and then sensibility, right? Can we keep that outside arm free is important? And then are we having good extension with our inside hand as we pop through the via the neck of the offensive lineman and then be able to make a play, right? This is a drill that I love to work because you just never know if you're gonna misstep or if they're gonna overreach you or gonna be too aggressive in their zones. And so what I like to do is I like to line up their up foot here, and I want them to establish, hey, I've taken my first step and now I'm on my second step, but I'm out of my block. So really, I should be on this side of him. I should be on this side of him, but off of my first step or off of his step, as I work through my second step, I'm still behind the block. What I don't want them to do is try to run to their gap. We want to go violent through the guy vertical and then work our way as we torque through his upfield shoulder. As we're working vertical charge to him, we're going to work through his upfield shoulder, torque off the pressure. We call it disadvantage shed drill, and then work to our leverage, right? So as you come through here, he decides to go over the top. You can go rip, depending on your leverage on the block. But you want to be able to take him that first step. You want to be able to see them get their hips up the field as much as possible. I eliminate the first step. Let's say, hey, our first step was bad. We got to play off our second step. And then we'll go a pressure release drill. And so this drill honestly has both facets of that drill incorporated in it, right? And so let me see if I can get this a lot cleaner for you guys. Sorry we couldn't optimize this video for the drills. If you need any questions or anything, I'll get this thing downloaded and have it live and available to anybody. But here, working a pressure release drill, right? We're starting trying to work that way, and then we want to work the other way and then finish with a shed, right? So again, want to be able to stay hot feet, get vertical, be able to work through, and stay downhill off of blocks. Again, the amount of times that we actually had to do that in the season was pretty prevalent, so thought the drill was good. And then sometimes you want to take off the physicality of a drill, use a pop-up. It's the same over-the-top swag drill we were working underneath the shed, but this now, we get to about week 9, you don't want to clang and bang too much, but you still want to get the work in. All right, now, just some live examples of how any of this stuff works, right? And so we'll go to our half line drill in practice. Just a normal zone 2 for our D tackles. Got to play his B gap. Got to play his B gap with violence, shed, and make it difficult. Make this thing bubble. That's what you want to see. You want to see a big guy on his ass, and it ain't us. You're going to go into the open field. Now, this one is all about your ability to play the zone with a level of violence and vertical penetration to disrupt the run game, right? We want to reestablish the line of scrimmage every time we step on the field. One second here, fellas. All right. Should be rolling. All right, there we go. And sometimes it works. You get that first step through, start to work your disadvantage shed, the quarterback's on his ass. Can't get to him. Now, what I want to see him do is I want to see him disengage with a little more shit to him as he works. Now, as you see it, off of his first step, it's whacked up. He's not going to work his disadvantage shed drills, right? So now he's going to work off the torque off the hip as he's getting vertical. Watch his left arm work up as he brings his right arm through. If this thing will go. As he tries to bring his right arm through, you're either going to get a hold or you're going to make a play. and he makes the play here in the backfield. It's a hell of a play by the D tackle. Now we get to some game tape. Watch the three technique here. Punch, drive, establish your B, play back underneath. You defeat the zones with verticality. Want to see him play with square hips, but I love his verticality at the line of scrimmage. I love the lift in his hands and be able to play back underneath and make this play. In the red zone against Utah. Big game. Again, down 3-0 to start the third quarter. We're on their goal line. And you want to see the nose here. You want to see him play this zone. See right here. Uh-oh. Boom. You want to see the nose play the zone. Now, I want them with some greater lockout, but this is how you want them to establish the line of scrimmage as a zone player and then make the play. Make it hard for them to get in the end zone. And again, one of our best players on the season, one of the better D tackles in the Mountain West here at the three technique. Switch him here. He gets zone to him. Punches through, gets 2-1, makes the play. That's simple. Keep it simple. Make sure they know what they're looking at. Make sure they know where to get their hands, where to lock out, where to make plays. And then we used to run, or we tended to run a lot of even front stuff where we vert lag out of our two techniques. And so we would play combination and double team blocks, not letting guys climb, but able to play through guys while playing the backside of zones. And so as you look at the two technique to the left, as he works through this, again, apologies for the lagging a little bit here going on. Watch him come through here, lock out, make the play. Again, make it hard for these big bodies to climb up to our linebackers. But at the same time, it's our responsibility to make plays when we get opportunity. This is a hell of a job with him with his hands and feet. Same thing here about the left D tackle. Same mantra. Play through blocks. Play violently through blocks. Split doubles and combos. Make plays in the backfield. It's our job to make sure guys don't climb the backers. But at the same time, we can make plays. We can be just as productive. Bear with me here. Got our three technique here. Block gets kind of waffled up, but that's not our problem. We punch through guards, and if they decide to climb up in the bizarre way like that, play through our block, make a play in the backfield. Keep it simple. Same kind of block here. Now we're at the three. That we're going to be the right three technique here if we can get this thing rolling. All right, three technique. Want to play through the guard. Through the guard. Boom. Work through the combo. Split the combo. Make the play. It's that simple. Keep football simple. Hips downhill. Punch inside. Dominate the guard. Play through contact. I got both guys here. You got the G and the three on 3rd and 1. playing through their pressure, jumbling it up, double teaming to make the play. So even if they do this waffling block, this new age push back, long arm, reach, and climb, you still want to be able to punch through your target, chop through that hand, and then flatten out on the line of scrimmage. Because at the end of the day, our job is still to close that B gap. See here. Last one here, the double team combo deal. Is our right D tackle here, playing through the double combo here at the three, and being able to split and watch the jabs in the backfield. There's nowhere to go. Linebacker just got to make a play. We actually split this in the end and play through blocks. These guards were 340 pounds apiece. And the tackles weren't very small either. And our guys, again, you just keep it simple. Play through one man. You play through one man, you give yourself a chance. See here, just a couple more different block recognition techniques. Just again, just keeping it simple. Get your eyes on your target, play through your pressure. So we got our two technique here. Playing avert lag technique here. Plays through the guard, pops off the pressure. Again, if that ball doesn't get hit on our wheel here at the line of scrimmage, our D tackle's making this play at the line of scrimmage right here. Again, want to see him lock this out with a little tighter hands, but I love his ability to feel the pressure leave and work back into it. Because then when he gets into the game, excuse me here, it'll make it a lot easier. So we get to the shade here. Same thing, a solid practice rep. A little technical difficulties here. Sorry, fellas. You watch the shade here. Plays through contact of the center, pops off, makes the play. Again, always going to urge those guys to play with tighter hands, keep their pad level down in a good spot. But if that pressure leaves, you work back off that pressure and you make the play. And so now you get to a game, like, how is this disruptive? Again, want to see this young man again play with tighter hands as he punches through. As soon as that guard leaves, you punch out of that pressure, you're making a play in the backfield. You got to be a little careful not throw him over your shoulder. Refs get a little sensitive nowadays. Physicality is sometimes discouraged in football, unfortunately. Now, talk about pad backing, right? We got our G here. Zone leaves. Your guard leaves, flatten away. No need to chase your block. Play back, cause the quarterback to slip. Nowhere to go. Cut the zone off. Shade here. Same thing. No need to chase. Play back. Center goes away. Play back your pressure. Establish your A. Work across. Go get in the play. The whole premise of this is, again, we don't want to chase blocks. We don't want to be prisoners of the moment. We don't want things to just happen to us on the football field. We got to react to what they're actually trying to accomplish. Oh, see if we can get this going. It's a play from earlier. Now we got the three technique, a shade to the right. Pops off back to the boundary guard. Still able to play his A gap. Cuts his zone off. He's able to get in on this play. Keep it simple. Play off your center. Center goes away. Play off your pressure. Flatten to the ball. Here. This is just the big man doing big man things. flatten out, boom, fight the pressure now. And again, you want guys to play with better hands, but you can't teach size sometimes. But he understood the technique of playing back against the pressure. And really just the last concept of some of the blocks you'll see, right? And some of the things we've gone through this season is when we're getting pulls, right? How do you play the pulls? So for us, we either fish hook it or we play it over the top. And so as you look at the left three technique here, his guard pulls away, center comes to him, he punches, he flattens out over the top, and he's the +1 backer. He's essentially like +2 backer if we get both backside backers to the front side of this play. And you feel really good about it. You got a three technique here. Oh, see if we can get this thing rolling. Couple more plays here. Come on now. Come on, technology. Here, boom. Your guard pulls away. You pop to the tackle. You're able to punch and get your eyes 1-2, boom. Get your eyes in flatten. Now you're in on this play on the front side. Now you're that +1 backer now. Now you've helped us. Because then you can get to the game. You're like, how does this translate to the game? Same thing, even as a two technique. Your guard pulls, you got to chase your pull. You got to chase your pressure. Establish, work over, be tighter with your hands, be clean with your shed, and then go make a play. See if I can get this queued up a little better. So it's a little more definite that you can see the impact of playing with good technique. We watch our two technique here. Boom, he pops over. Bam. And we'll do this, and sometimes we'll line up in our three down structure, or even sometimes we'll get sometimes an overload or on the ball tight end to it. We'll switch to a three technique with a back away, depending on per game plan. Same thing applies. If you get a pressure, anything that shows gap outside, we want to pop. Oh, hold on 1 second. I had a couple more clips. Somehow the technology crashed on me. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, fellas. But the biggest thing that really want to drive home as this thing starts to load back up for these last few clips is being really good at getting the guys to understand what they're actually looking at, right? If you're a two gap team and you want to be able to play off of blocks and work it that way, just make sure the eyes and hands and feet are consistent. And they have some kind of key that they're looking at so that they know exactly where to put their eyes and what to anticipate. And again, you can expound upon this like with us. Our guys are able to draw up all the run schemes depending on the game plan. So now their anticipation is a little bit higher. They have a little more ownership in the game plan. And then when they have ownership in the game plan, they got a lot more buy-in. And so now they kind of anticipate things. They can play a little bit more free and they can be a little bit more aggressive and taking certain liberties because they know what to expect. And so that's a big thing we want to drive home here. I think sometimes with D line and D line play, I think we get into this mode of okay, you got these big, strong guys that need to be big, strong, burly, and they don't need to think. Like I don't want guys thinking. But I also don't want them out there like a box of rocks, like they can't react to blocks or don't know what an inside zone is looking like or what to anticipate when they're a three technique. And so for me, that's huge. Of getting guys to really understand those facets of technique as much as possible. I think it's pivotal in their development, and I think you get sustained success when guys truly understand what's going on in front of them, which is a big thing. Um, Looks like I'm having a little technical difficulties here. I just had a couple more clips of those. Um, but overall, if I'll just want to, I'll wrap it up here pretty quickly and say overall, I just appreciate again the opportunity to speak to everybody. I think this is pretty cool, man. I think our game can only continue to grow if we're clean and honest with each other about what's going on in the world of football. Right? There should be no secrets in this. If you do a good enough job, it's going to be on tape. So I'll leave you with one last thing here. I'll try to work this little share button. Uh, let me
Man, I
see.
feel for you right now with the technology, brother.
Huh?
I feel for you right now, man, with the
Oh, it's all
technology.
good, man. I can't do nothing. We try to optimize the video, but it didn't
Yeah,
work out. I can find a different way to make sure when it's time that I actually can, you know, allow guys to see it. But I
no
don't know if
doubt.
you guys can see this here at all. Let me
I'll
see if I can share
I'll
it.
say this, man. Like, I love the fish hook and like working over the top. Like at my last school, we did that. Like we called it patching, and it's phenomenal. You get that like hat back to the party. So you know what I mean. He's not left out, and you got like a lineman free releasing to linebacker and just having that hat back in the party. I'll say that, man. And have you ever had it where like you've had a guy be so good, like he pulls just at the same time as the guard?
Yep. I had a
It's
guy last year.
freaky.
He made it he made it really difficult for people to want to run gap scheme to him. And so the biggest thing that I want with between the fish hook and the over the top is just figuring out the leverage of the block, right? Like I said, I don't want guys to be robotic and think, all right, 1, 2 hands here, 1, 2, I go here. Like there's an element to that, but I really want to make sure guys understand like you're allowed to play free, right? You're allowed to understand that he's on my low hip. Let me run around this instead of trying to run over the top of it and get caught into between the block. So that's kind of the big thing of that. Can you guys see my last little slide, I guess?
Yep.
Yep. So again, I'm a pretty open book guy. Like I think we put some really good stuff on tape. And I mean, if you have any questions, call, email. I'm not cool enough to have two phones or even smart enough to do it because I'll lose them. And if there's ever a question you want to have or want to connect or just help me learn as much, I'm a sponge for anybody that want to grow the game as much as possible. I think this stuff is cool. I think we should be more open as coaches because again, if you do it right, you already put it on tape. So might as well talk about it.
All right, we open up and see if anybody's got any questions for you, my good man.
Absolutely. I got plenty of time.
You
Hey,
good?
coach,
Yep.
it's VJ Malin from Idaho. When you got four eyes and you and teams run that dart play where that tackle's pulling,
Hmm.
are you having them bonus over the top as well, or are you kind of still having them just play backside?
It depends on what we're doing for that particular week. And so
Okay.
we probably saw Dart 6 times. And so we played it two different ways depending on what we thought of the quarterback, right? And so if we didn't think the quarterback was a viable runner, we took the risk of adding him and
Yeah.
being +1. But if he was viable, we call it a smash technique where we stayed back and we just pressed it back and we were +1 on the quarterback. Because we always had a quarterback player, but really we added the
Yeah.
core eye to it
100%.
because it didn't make sense to bring him over there if that guy was going to keep it.
Absolutely. Okay.
Let me ask this, coach. Like, have you guys always patched? Like, is that something you believed in, or is that something like you transitioned to when you got to Wyoming, or kind of like the +1, like the patching, or kind of the fish hook? Has that always been something you've believed in, or where'd that come from, if you don't mind me asking?
No, no problem at all. I think it really stemmed from it's a combination of what I did when I was a player. So I played defensive end, and we had a lot of at that time in the Big Ten. You had a lot of OT counter and all that to you, and you in the Big Ten at that time you were playing true six techniques, and so you had to be able to know how to pop over the top or you are five and you got down by a tight end and be able to understand that leverage. And so how I played the game, I feel like had a pretty quick first step, and I feel like I was wasting myself trying to play into it and work over the top when the guy had natural leverage on me. And so I clinicked with a couple guys over the years early as a coach and then watched some tape on guys do it. And And quite honestly, the way that we recruited, we wanted really quick D tackles and D ends, and so that technique was a little more natural than the patching or the popping and going over the top of it. And so we kind of just, I was like, okay, I don't want to confine these guys. What's the best way to get them to overstand it? And I thought the best way I got them to overstand it is understand the leverage. So we would drill, and I have some tape of this that I can get to if you guys want to talk about it at a different time. Where we would work leverage. Like you got a low hip fish hook, you got the high, you got high on you, or low hip on you, pressing you down like they got a good clean look on you. So you got a fish hook. Then you got the opposite. Now you got to pop over the top. So we thought that helped those guys understand it, and it made them play faster.
Gotcha. Man, let me ask this, like, what is kind of like the goals of the week? Like, like as a D tackle group, like, hey, we're trying to hold this team to 100 yards rushing. Like, what are some of the rules you have? Especially with talking about like run game, man. Like, what are some of like the goals you guys have each week, or something you guys talk about in your room, if you don't mind me?
Oh, of course. I mean, the goal is always to hold them under 100 if you can. When you play teams like Air Force, you want to hold them under a certain average because they're going to try to run the, regardless of what happens, they're going to try to run the ball 55 times, 60. And so even if you hold them to 2 yards a carry, that's over 100 yards. But that doesn't mean you didn't play a great game. And so we kind of lean a little bit more into about 3.5 a carry. We wanted to make it tough for them to get first, second down off of just two plays. And so really want to go 100, but try to keep them under 3.5 as much as possible.
Does anybody else got any questions or anything like that for Coach?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so Coach Mike Hedges, I'm the D line coach at Oklahoma Panhandle State. I was wondering, like, so for the run game, right, for your interiors, would you say you because we're our defensive front, right? We run a 0 and 2 4 techniques, right? Head up on a
Mhm.
tackle, right? So and we're a slanting defense, right? So would you would you coach up the same drills, right, that you do for your inside guys if you're a slanting D line?
Yeah, I think I just because I didn't talk about movement, but I think movement, our block recognition kind of philosophy and movement's the same, right? So if I'm a three technique working across a guard's face to get to the A gap, like our target is actually the center's shoulder, but our pressure is what we're working across. So it's kind of like inverted in a sense. And so being able to drill that so that we know, okay, when to flatten out based off of the center's shoulder. So if the center's flat away, if the center's away, that shoulder's away, we're getting flat. That center's to us, we're getting vertical. And so like kind of the same mantra so that I'm not double teaching different things. So that guys understand like you're playing off of something once you get there more than anything.
Okay. And would it be the same thing for the ends too? So
Yes.
say for
I mean, you
example,
can, and then you just go more. I think more edge mechanics become more and more like 2-to-1 reads. The way that you leverage blocks, I think, because they play too many different positions. You can be a 5, you can be a 6, you can be a 7-eye, 6-eye, whatever you call it. You can be a 9, a crash 9. So I think because they play so many different ones, you do got to switch it up. But I think the overall arching of like, okay, what do you want to get out of a 5 technique? Like, what do you want him to look at? And then what is the ultimate goal in the setting and the structure of your defense for your fives? Are they crashing fives? Are they closing fives? Are they pumping fives? Like, what exactly are they doing? I think you cater all that together and try to make it as simple as possible.
got it.
Here, I'll do this one from the chat. Like, my question is more of an off the field prep. How are you preparing your athletes in the meeting room, walkthrough wise, mental prep, so visualization, etc. Always curious how the classroom side of the equation is done. Would love some insights into how your unit works, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. Like I told you, I'm not. I'll tell you everything. I don't really. It doesn't bother me. But we pre-prep guys, and so if we have an install, like so on a Monday night, you're gonna get Tuesday's install by the I want to say by 6 o'clock because we're afternoon practicing team. So like as we head into a Tuesday practice by 6 p.m., you should have the install. And I only require guys to look through the install, the physical representation of an install, for about 15 minutes. I don't want to overdo it. I want to expose you to the install, and then when we get to the classroom, we're going to go over the install in the manner in which it was presented to you. We're going to then couple it with some film of the same plays that you run. And what I try to do is I try to cater the film towards our guys that are currently in the room. And so as we go into this new season, all the film that we watch in the spring ball is going to be of the guys that are currently in the room executing the plays. So I think they can actually buy into it more because they see themselves doing it and doing it successfully. And then the other part of it is I'll get the guys up on the board and say, all right, reinstall it. Just so that we know we got it and there's some confidence behind it. But then there's also confidence in the room of, okay, this guy's a starter and he knows his stuff, so I got to step it up. Or this guy's playing, but he don't know it as well as he should, and so now we got to hold him accountable as we get to the field. And then if we have that little bit of time between meetings and practice, we'll try to get a baby walkthrough in just so that guys got it. And so I'm a big believer in giving as many options to learn as possible. So as I told you, we did the visualization part of it was the install sent the night before. So that's pre-prep. Then the morning we got film and going over it in the classroom structure. That's three of them. And then we have a walkthrough, that's four. And then the PowerPoint, excuse me, the board work would be five. And so you've now learned this install so many different ways before you actually required to execute it. And I think that's more important than inundating them with a bunch of information. I think you give them the same information, but just give them in different facets. And that's as a coach for me, I lean on to figure out, okay, well, how are these guys actually learning? And then I push that as we get further along into, okay, we learn better in walkthroughs. I'm going to still do these things, but I'm going to make sure we have enough walkthrough time. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, I think it did from the chat. I think that did answer his question. Let somebody have. Trying to think. Let me ask this coach, like, when's your spring ball practice, stuff like that? If there's any guys or some high school coaches, like, when are you gonna be on the road and where are your recruiting areas? Whatever you kind of want to give the plug for YO and yourself, brother.
Absolutely. So we'll actually start. So I want to make sure I got my little sheet here to make sure I'm perfectly on point here. Our first spring practice is actually March 24th. We'll go all the way to the 25th for our spring game. For me, I recruit South I-10 in Houston, and I recruit Northern Cali now. I got a little extension in Northern Cali that we're going to still expound on, but those are my two main recruiting areas. And I saw some in the chat. Yes, Coach Boyd is still recruiting Illinois. What's going on, Chris? But yeah, big thing about us, we got a lot of returning guys back. The thing last year that was unique for us in our D tackle room is we had a lot of guys hurt. And so there was five guys that played for us at one point that never played a snap for Wyoming. And so being able to, and including one guy that moved to us in spring ball from O-line, and he played in 6 games. And so the big thing I'm proud of this room is they understood where to put their eyes. Bare minimum, we made it really hard for guys to get up to our backers. Now, as we expound on our spring and guys come in and see us, you're going to see some different bodies running around there that you didn't see last year. And you're going to go, okay, these guys got some high-level power four type of D tackles that can roll. And keeping those guys healthy is going to be imperative because I think we got a really special group if we can keep it intact. Obviously, as we look ahead into December and January next year, it'll be a little stressful conversations, but that's the nature of college football today, and we just got to embrace it and keep rolling.
No doubt, brother. Well, I appreciate it so much, and thank you for being willing to do this, man. I'm so sorry about the videos and stuff, man. I feel for you,
Oh,
brother. I know.
oh, it's all
Um,
good, man. If anything, I'll find a way to get it chopped up, and I can get it to you or however whoever needs it, and we'll go from there.
no doubt, brother. Well, I appreciate it so much, man. And are you guys off this week then, or well, if like after
No,
signing
I'll
day?
be in the
Or,
office. We got workouts, and we're going to do our off field study, our off season study of some of the stuff that we did and what we can correct. And I kind of did a little bit of that in January, but for me, while I'm doing all these clinics, is me talking through what we did last year. And if it sounds crazy to me as I present it, then I'm deleting it. As I'm really self-evaluating everything we did last year too, just to make sure we're as efficient as possible. And so these things are imperative for me. So I encourage anybody, if you believe what you do, then you should present on it.
no doubt, brother. Let me ask this: did the Tice kid get invited to any bowls or anything like that, or any?
I don't think
Combine.
I think he got invited to one of those, a couple bowls, and I think it was some bowls that, they tended to have those fees associated with it, so they weren't as credible.
Yeah, I
But
gotcha.
I think he's gonna. Well, I know he's gonna. I remember him in the spring doing some of his training. He's gonna test really well, and so
Yeah.
hopefully he gets himself a shot. He's a long body guy that can run, and he's a lot better of a football player than it seems. So hope he gets the shot he deserves.
Yeah, I remember. I think last year I watched a little bit of his film, and I really enjoyed him, man. He seemed like really explosive and seemed like pretty
He's a good.
physical kid.
He's a good player. He's got some versatility. So whoever gets him, they're gonna get a gem.
But well, I appreciate you so much, Coach. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and wish you the best of luck with spring ball and everything. All right?
Likewise, appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Take it easy, brother.
I know.